Hello, John.
Hello, Oliver.
Now, today we're going to talk about socialism and communism in the past and the present. Go ahead.
Well, we know a fair bit about the communism in Russia and communism in some of the Eastern European countries, but there's a lot that we don't know about it, about the actual tragedy and mass murder that occurred under communism. There was an article in the Sunday Telegraph of the 29th of October 2017, just gone past, and written by Daniel Hanna. It's a good article, but I just only read a small little bit, if I may, from it, to just give a flavour. He says, the blood, he talks about in Russia, the blood came later, gushing in such cataracts that we can still barely take in what happened. In the crude mathematics of murder, communism must be reckoned the most lethal ideology ever devised. The Atlantic slave trade killed perhaps 10 million people, the Nazis 17 million, but the communists killed 100 million. Some shot into pits, some arrested at night, some starved as deliberate state policy. Every communist regime, from Albania to Angola, from Benin to Bulgaria, from Cuba to Czechoslovakia, relied on labour camps, torture and execution. You didn't have to be an opponent of the party to be liquidated. Your crime might be having the wrong parents, or attending church, or holding a university degree. In Cambodia, wearing glasses was enough to condemn you, being taken as evidence that you were not a manual worker. What explains slaughter on such a scale? The novelist Alexander Solzhenitsyn, himself a Gulag survivor, knew the answer. Here's the answer. There had been sadists before, he wrote, and tyrants and murderers, but their homicidal tendencies had eventually been exhausted because they had no ideology. Ideology, that is what gives the evildoer the necessary steadfastness and determination. Here is one way to quantify of communism's destructive power. In 1917, America and Russia had the same population. After a century of asymmetric longevity, abortion and migration, there are now twice as many Americans as Russians. Now, he goes on, but I think you've got the flavour.
Yeah.
That mass murder. So these, and we still haven't, he makes the point that Corbyn and the Labour Party in Britain are embracing Marxism and are not ashamed to say it, and for some reason they're getting support of youngish people that seem to be clueless as regards history and the effects of a communist and a socialist type of agenda that seeks to sort of destroy the sort of ordinary well-being of citizens on a utopian agenda that's not realisable.
Okay, well, Corbyn is socialism, is he?
Correct. He was he was so bad that the idea that he'd ever be a leader would be unthinkable because of his views. He supports communist countries even with this record that I've just outlined, as does his other members that are on his front bench. If you don't support that view, you're out.
How would you compare him to the Irish Labour Party?
Well, we can see the evidence there. The Labour Party in this country adopted the Anti-Catholic Agenda when they were in power with Fine Gael and this large majority party, that this government that we had from 2011 to 2016 or 15, whatever it was. He closed the Irish embassy to the Vatican, and he claimed on cost grounds it was costing less than $500,000 a year, and was very successful and effective. Britain, which is not exactly known for its Catholic identity, regarded the Irish, their embassy to the Holy See as very important. So this is what the Labour Party did, and subsequently when Gilmore, the Labour leader and foreign minister, lost out, when a new minister came in, Flanagan, it was reopened. The embassy with one lady minister to the Holy See, but not in the premises that is occupied heretofore. So, and also Labour, the Fine Gael leader Enda Kennedy, the Taoiseach, attacked the Vatican in a most intemperate fashion, which we spoke about before in the previous video. So we can see that they have this agenda, and it has to be resisted. And I don't know how anybody votes for them.
Of course, the socialists and the communist parties would argue that, well, capitalism doesn't work either.
Well, it has worked, and capitalism in the democratic societies has worked. If the people that have the companies, their objective is just to make more money and not to treat workers in the proper manner, well then that's bad. But there are companies that practice very good personnel policies and reward the workers accordingly, and they're to be welcomed. And we're fortunate to have some of those American companies in this country that pay their workers fairly good. The only problem there is that they might relocate elsewhere, and so these jobs could be gone very quickly. I think it's the indigenous industry is the one that should be promoted, that would stay in the country and not be moving elsewhere for tax reasons and various other incentives.
We did cover this before when we were saying that Ireland relies on 700 US companies.
Yeah, and providing upwards of over 200,000 or maybe more jobs, well-paid jobs, and of course these companies export a lot of their products, and this helps the balance of trade as regards our exports versus our imports. Our imports, of course, are astronomical as regards the supermarkets and multiples are in the country, because most of their goods are imported. They don't have a loyalty towards the country to pay lip service, but the reality is that lorry loads and ship loads of goods coming in all the time.
That's it. Thank you very much, John Malone.
Thank you very much, Anwar.